All right, so what's going on, everyone? Normally we try to start with music,
Wait,
but
where's the lighting?
we're just gonna dive in. Yeah, but
What happened?
let's see. You see how she's calling me out after I went live?
Jesus.
She live me right now.
She left she
All
dada.
right, we'll be back.
I can't see myself.
Today we have a special guest.
Yes,
So, hi, babe.
So hold on. Hang on. Studio lights are important.
So, all right. I think it's better. All right. What's going on, everyone? Today we have a special guest. We have a personal person hanging out with us today. So Instagram, what's good? Facebook, what's good? So go ahead and share because we're going to be talking some really good stuff today.
Yes.
Let's see here. All right. So this gentleman that I have here today is our personal person. But I think probably the whole of Jersey we have to go back and forth with us when it comes to whose uncle is this bros exactly.
Everybody's uncle.
Right. So he's everybody's uncle, but I think it's a cool uncle, and you're gonna find out shortly here very, very soon. But before I get into, because I want him to tell us as much as possible from, how do you say it in Yoruba? Something like that.
Why would you even try it if you don't know it?
Right. So it's better that he tells us. But before I bring him on, I just want to go through some of his achievements. I think one of his biggest achievements is that he's a father to a lot of people. He's a father figure to a lot of people. They all call him uncle, but I think it's more like a father.
Right.
And let me just go through his, we call him Uncle Tunde, but his full name Ayotunde Anthony Ojebode, BSc Chemistry, MSc Computer Information Systems, CEO, President of Pharmaceutical Solutions International, PSI, 30 years working in FDA regulated industry,
Right.
Very strong family oriented person, a very proud father. So he's actually father to some 3 awesome young people that I know, a strong believer and activist in various humanitarian relief roles.
Yes.
Current president of Oyo Progressive Indigenes
Wow.
Union, OPIU. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring Uncle Tunde on really quickly. Let's see. Let's get that done. Bros. Shawapa, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have to back up a little bit because the mics work good. Yep. So we can make sure that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. All right, and I think there's a better thing here. There you go. That's better. All right. So, bros, listen, when I posted, because we have a little broadcasting that we do, and when I posted earlier, the first thing that I did is I posted your picture.
Yes.
And then one sister like that just hit me right quick. Wait, what's wrong? Everything okay? so I didn't post the flyer. I just posted the picture you sent me.
Right.
And because sometimes when God forbid, there's a lot going on in the world that we live in today.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people just think like you're the coolest person ever. So the last thing, they don't want any kind of no story, So Uncle Tunde, okay, I got hit by at least about 7 people instantly as soon as I sent that picture.
Wow.
Yes.
And I was just trying to figure out if when we send link on WhatsApp, if it blocks for some people, maybe it actually doesn't send the broadcast to some people. And I was just trying to tease them first, Somebody said I was scared. Lola Bunny, which Lola Bunny is this? Lola Bunny 20, say your real name.
Lola Bunny.
Lola Bunny sister. So the truth of the matter is that a lot of people are looking for. Some people said they're at work and they will watch the recording later. So
yes,
we are looking forward to it. We've been at this for about 3 weeks or so. So we're looking forward to it. So how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Wonderful.
People, New Jersey people are a lot of them still assume that you live in New Jersey. You know.
I know, and could you believe it? I haven't even been in Jersey this year yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been well, mostly because of the lockdown. I've been in one location for the past 3 months,
Right.
and that's because I still work as a consultant. So the location where I'm at right now, that's where the job is. So
yeah,
and like you said earlier, because the kids are grown, so I don't need to rush home to take care of the kids or anything.
Right.
So I had a choice to where I want to get stuck at. So I said, sure, I'd rather get stuck at the work location than be home and not working.
right.
So I've been in a remote area in.
But you're stuck in Tampa, Florida. That's like the best place in the world to be stuck in, though.
No. Tampa, Florida is home, but that's not where I am.
Oh, that's not. Oh, you're on the road.
I'm on the road. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do a lot of traveling. So, I can tell you, I'm in West Virginia right now. So the job is in West Virginia, and that's where I am right now.
Awesome. Now we the person that was saying she was scared is Lola Shodeke. How you doing, Lola?
Oh,
I remember Lola.
Yeah.
That's that girl right there.
Yeah. So we thought about bringing you on because a lot of people, we talk about marriage issues here, and a lot of people when they're talking about marriage, they're very quick to go, communication. Yeah, you should communicate. Because people go to the obvious to go seek advice, and they don't know what people are going through inside of their home. A lot of people, they put on the highlight on the outside, right? It looks good on the outside, so, or if they're elderly, a lot of people, or if they are their mother-in-law or their father-in-law, they run to them to report their matters to them, right? So we were like, you know what? We were neighbors for a while, and they were like, let's at least, I don't know if Brother Tunde will be able to teach us something, but he can maybe teach us what not to do, at least. Because you're probably not the first person would think about to run to, because you're like, cool, we play soccer, we just fun. We're not thinking when a crisis is going on in marriage, but actually it's not the first person you're thinking about. You're thinking maybe there's summertime soccer, a little bit of festival outside, and or maybe
anything fun. Anything fun or educational.
Yeah, educational, exactly.
That's what people run to me for, yeah.
Exactly. Because many of my contemporaries run to you when we were going through school. I did computer engineering too. So, any questions about the field or anything like that, or even when the whole healthcare IT thing was blowing up too, right?
Yeah.
So, but we thought we should talk to you and then, ask you some questions. I'm sure you will have tons of wisdom that you can share with us. Our goal today is 5 thumbs up. So if you're watching us on YouTube somewhere or Facebook, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on Instagram, double tap. All right. So we have Ratunde today, but I want him to tell us, who are you? That's the first question.
Yeah, it's a very broad one.
Yeah. Who are you? How would you, if I ask you straight up, it's open-ended. We go with open-ended question because we want to hear how you process that. If somebody just randomly wake you up out of your dream and say, who are you?
Well, I would use, I guess, some adjectives to describe myself. I would say I'm a realist. That's very, very important. I keep things real. I take things for the face value. You can tell me whatever you want, but what I believe is whatever I see. Yeah,
what you see?
Yeah, what I see is what really, really, it's what I believe about most things. It's not what anyone tells me. What anyone tells me is great, because it's great to hear a lot of stuff, but what I see is very important. And I like to keep things real. As close I am with you, I would break your heart in a heartbeat.
Jesus.
But at the same time, I will still hug you and tell you it's gonna be okay.
Right. I think a lot of people will agree that you're probably a heartbreaker, but not in not in that sense. But you know, but so when you say you're a realist, you have to see it before you believe it.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff that we don't see, in this life life is tough, and what makes life tough particularly is really the relationships, because if we're and it's a gift and a curse because we're just social beings, like we were just saying, we have you as our boss, we can reach out to you. That relationship, we don't want anything to touch that relationship, right? Ever. So but there's a lot under the relationship. I could be talking to you right now, and I may have a completely different outlook on whatever the subject of the matter is, and I can deceive you. With people deceive each other. People don't pull people off the street to deceive them. They deceive people that they're in relationships with.
That's true.
How do you place that when you say you have to see it? When
Well,
you're dealing with people, even your kids, you don't necessarily see everything.
yeah. Well, this is who I am and how I am. Um, I believe in order for you to get close to someone, you have to put yourself in a position of being vulnerable to that person.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't release yourself to that person, for that person to know that, wow, he doesn't have his guard up,
Mm-hmm.
he's very vulnerable. I can hurt him right now, or I can hurt him, or I can love him, So I've done that over the years, over the past. No regrets, but I think you have to put yourself in that position with someone, and and actually, there's no regrets. But yes, there's been few times where I said, okay, now I know this is how things are with this person. So I won't put myself in that situation anymore with that person. So as a matter of fact, someone's asked me this question before, and this is what I told that person. I said, I'm very easy. If someone wants to kill me, it's very easy. But as long as I don't die, I
Mm-hmm.
will survive. As long as I'm hurt or I'm just down and I'm still gonna get up,
Mm-hmm.
then I know that I will survive, because you won't get a second chance
Mm-hmm.
to hurt me. I'll put myself in a very vulnerable position with you. But if you take care of me, take care of my emotions, take care of my physical being, my friendship with you,
Uh-huh.
my love, affairs with you, if you take good care of it, then definitely we'll have a very long lasting relationship. But if you abuse it, well, you will have a chance to abuse it, and you will abuse it, but it'll only be once.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, then I know not to.
Okay. So
Don't
in
get
essence, you still wait to see. You still wait to see, but you will. I mean, to have an authentic relationship, you still have to let your guards down because there's no.
You have to. You can't have your guard up, and because people will notice that. If you
Mm-hmm.
have your guard up, people will notice that. People will know that, okay, he's not totally approachable.
Right.
He's not himself. So
Mm-hmm.
they will hold back also. People will hold back once they know you're holding back. They
Mm-hmm.
will also hold back.
Yeah.
And this has worked for me tremendously, because, like you said earlier, um, uh, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I love to make friends,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends. I don't discriminate when it comes to friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who are kids. I have friends who are older. So, and the reason why people latch on me is because of who I am and how I am. So they feel very comfortable to share things with me.
Right.
They feel very comfortable to ask me questions. Like you said earlier, anything to do with education, profession, fun, sport. That's what most people know me for. So they latch onto me. They feel free. They disclose things to me, and I take that very, 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 very serious. Confidentiality. I would even tell them that, look, I don't. Whatever we talk about is confidential.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to discuss it with someone else, I would need your authorization. You know, and if they don't authorize me to talk about it, I don't talk about it.
They won't talk about it.
No, I won't. I won't dare.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's
I
a
will
big.
not dare go there because you don't get a second chance in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's true.
You don't get a second chance. And I
Mm.
so much treasure and I value that relationship that I never abuse it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the kind of person
So
I am.
that's who you are.
Yeah,
So you're open book basically.
He's open-minded and he's also younger.
very, very open-minded.
Very open
Yeah.
mind. Okay.
And everything and anything is okay with me.
Hmm. That's a big deal.
It is a big
Most
deal.
people, they may even say that in words. We know that because you've shown that over the years, right?
Yes.
But there are many people that will say that in words, but the action is very quick. Even if you look at this whole Black Lives Matter thing that's going on, some people's outlook on it is very closed-minded. It's the way it is. Leave it alone, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what side you are. Either side, especially if you're extreme of either side, they're mostly close-minded people. So yeah, awesome, awesome. Now let's get into some marriage stuff. Okay. Are you married? If so, how many times or how many wives have you married, and when did you get married? Tell us, because you've been around. I don't want to tell on your age or anything like that. You've been around, so um, just tell us your story when it comes to. Tell us as much as you would like to tell us when it comes to marriage.
So I had a very different upbringing, and growing up was, I have to go a little bit, I have to go back a little bit
Sure, sure.
for it to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
I came to the US as a 17, 18-year old,
Mm.
and of course, everything was education, education, education.
Oh, yeah.
So I started college right away. Uh, while I was in school, I had to work full time. So for most people, 4 years to get a bachelor's, it took me 6 years because some semester I had to take off because
Mm.
survival comes first, not
Yeah.
education. When you're a first generation immigrant in the US, education is important, but survival is more important. So I'd like to take some time off school to work, but so I grew up very fast. I
Mhm.
did everything very, very fast. Imagine today's world. You see a 21, 22-year old that is not interested in going to clubs anymore.
Mm.
That is not interested in having different girlfriends anymore.
So you were an adult very quick.
I grew up very fast.
Mm.
At 22, I wasn't interested in dating scene anymore. I
Mm.
wanted to get down, because I've achieved a lot even at that age.
Mhm.
Compared to my peers, I had a very great job. I've always had a great job, and I thought I was ready. So I decided to stick with, someone, and at 26, I got married.
Mm.
So
Wow.
got married at 26, started having babies at 27, and so, and of course, because of the, I guess, the circumstances and the situation of things in the country and personal at that time, it didn't allow for things to go the way even I wanted it to go. And and I also have to say maybe a little bit of cultural conflict.
Culture?
Yeah,
Conflict.
yeah,
Okay.
cultural conflict. And so eventually we got separated, me and my wife at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while. We were going back and forth, in and out of the relationship. And eventually.
So how many years when the separation happened? How many years into the marriage?
That was 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. And then eventually things didn't get better. So we both decided to just make it permanent.
Oh wow.
And permanent as in move to different states. So that really made it permanent, And but then we both grew up and realized that it wasn't our fault, really. Neither of us had any major fault in it. It was just, I guess, like I said earlier, cultural conflict and a difference in personal interests. So, but today we're very great. We're good friends, Especially we have kids together, so we're very united in that sense. Anytime there's anything to do with the kids, you will not even know that we're not together. So and the kids are the beneficiary from that. So
that sounds like success story to me. Funny enough, because a lot of people they get into the same. My stories sound. I think it's probably different by 1 year. I think I was 1 year late. I got married at 27, started having kids at 28. I came here as 18 years old, grew up very fast, had to become an adult. Yeah. So it's extremely close in that sense. And when it comes to culture shock, we're both Yoruba people,
right.
But our level of how we were raised, I guess, was a little bit less than yours. Well, yours is like the culture. Some people is religion, but we had the religion clash. Like
we had religion clash, and we also had the states clash. It's from Ondo State. I'm from Abeokuta.
Look at this one.
Egba is too laju. Egba is too overly exposed. I'm a girl that our parents are from Ogun State, and he's Ondo boy that grew up in Akure. There was a huge clash right
So
there.
I guess you can talk.
I have to tell you though, speaking of religion, this is in hindsight now, but I believe if it wasn't because of religion, I don't think we will be separated.
That's really.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate?
She grew up in a very religious home.
Oh.
So while growing up, she was forced. It wasn't a free will. She was forced to go to church. She was forced to participate in the church activities and maintain a certain standard set by the church. So as soon as she got her liberation, she didn't want anything to do with that anymore.
Yeah.
With church.
Or with religion or anything. She was not interested anymore. And when I met her, she was still with her parents. So I met her in that church scene thing.
Right.
Because at that time, that's what I was too.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, there's two apples.
You doesn't want to go to church, and then and then it becomes an issue because you're like, that's not who I met.
So it was two apples. So it was great. I can relate, And then right after she lost interest in the religious thing,
Mhm.
I was still in it.
Right.
So now it's become an orange and an apple.
Mm.
And so
Can't relate.
we couldn't relate anymore.
Mm.
Well, let me put it this way. I couldn't relate anymore. I'm gonna be honest here.
Mhm.
She was okay with me doing the church thing, but I wasn't okay that she wasn't interested in the church thing anymore.
Mm.
So in hindsight, I have to admit that I judged her, and it wasn't really fair because
Hmm.
everybody should have the freedom to do whatever they want. You know,
Fact.
um, my feelings for her should not be based on her religious affiliation.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
but that's so difficult for all of us, because
It's true.
the religion becomes part of who we are.
it was part of me. It was part of me. I have to admit because I was deeply rooted into it at that time, and um, and I judged her. She didn't meet up to the standard that
Hmm.
I think a woman or a wife should meet up to
Hmm.
at that time. And it did affect our relationship, definitely. It affected the way we related with each other. It affected the way we spent together because I would not miss Sunday church and I would
Mhm.
take my kids to church and she would
Right.
go.
And she's
So
like, I'm okay.
yeah, she wouldn't go and I couldn't force her to go, but I wish she would go. But so all that contributed
Hmm.
to what was inevitable, at that.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and
It is.
I always tell people, like, it's not, this whole thing called marriage is not about right and wrong. And if you lead with right and wrong, you're probably going to fail up front because your sense of right can easily be
Different.
different from the other
Yes.
person, and it can evolve over time too,
Yeah.
and it can flip side. But if you should love in a way that the other person feels free. If they have to feel judged or feel like they're doing something because of you, people build resentment from that. They don't necessarily say it immediately, like they'll build resentment from that, and the day they blow up, they're just gonna blow up. And then sometimes the worst part is it shows up in different forms. Sometimes it shows up in a way that's not exactly direct, especially a woman. She's probably not going to express to you that this is what's wrong with her, and you'll be trying to figure things out, and before you know it, it's too late. You know.
Well, and then there's a new me now. So
We were. I'm
the new,
like I'm
the
like
new
that part of New You right now. It's probably a different episode entirely.
yes, you would need another show for that.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
but we probably would do it.
But if I'm going to talk about that in relation to this marriage thing,
Hmm.
the new me now, like I said earlier, I mean, look, there's no shame in this. The new me now would not have separated from my wife.
Right.
Mm.
What do you think would have been different? Is it the level of patience? What would have been different?
Oh no, no, I would just let her be her. That's it.
Mm.
Let her be free.
Just do you.
Just let her be
Life
free.
is so awesome if
Let her
people just do more of that.
express herself as a human being that deserves to believe in whatever she wants to believe or don't believe in whatever she doesn't want to believe in,
Hmm.
and just accept her for who she is.
Oh, cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then I've learned my lesson too, and I'm applying it, moving forward.
In other
So
ways, right?
But it's not your fault too, Uncle, because in the church they will say, do not be unevenly yoked with unbelievers. And when
Yeah.
they say that, because me, I have Muslim parents, I'm like, isn't it the same Bible that say honor your father and your mother? You're losing me over here.
You know,
thank you.
You can't judge people.
Thank you so much, Lola. I mean, that makes me feel really good. For you to
no, it's never. I tell people like marriage, and you can't judge. If you judge,
Mm-mm.
you would destroy it for yourself before you
absolutely,
get started.
yeah.
You know. When we first met, there were a couple of hiccups from our parents. I was under the impression also that our mother was going to church.
She was.
She was, right? but that she was church, like, and that's it, right? I knew that our father was a Muslim. I knew that she went to church. She came to church with me a few times. I started in the middle of dating. I started noticing that the church she claimed she went to, she would skip a lot of Sundays. I played the keyboard, so I didn't get to skip Sundays.
Sometimes.
But a part of me was okay with that. I wasn't the too harsh on people, but at least she was coming to church and she loved coming to church with me. But it got to one point we had a few crises. I think it was like the 50th year anniversary or something like that. Suddenly her mom, at least from my perspective, I don't know, it could have been different from my perspective. I just felt like she became a Muslim back because me and her daughter was arguing. And I'm like, how do you become a Muslim? First of all, I didn't think you were a Muslim before, but oh well.
My mom was like, I'm a Muslim. I've been a Muslim all of my life. Yes, I do go to church. My parents are liberal Muslims. So my dad
they're liberal.
Invite him to a church service and they will come and rejoice with
He
you.
knows all the songs more than us.
Don't take it that seriously. Unlike the Christians that will say, God forbid, I can't go to
we're a lot more religious. I think Muslims can be, but their own Muslim is not.
No, our Muslim
but
is
we're
not.
a lot more religious with that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a religious person. I've never really been. But because I was raised that way, a part of my brain is that way.
Right.
We had a conversation the other day and we talked about Jesus, God, and I said, bros, all of these are labels for me. But again, we don't want to get into that, but you get what I'm saying. Like but it affects who we are, and it affects marriage. What we do in marriage is literally who we are. We're living that life every day. We're having kids in the middle of it.
It goes even beyond marriage. It goes into even your relationship with your kids.
Yes, even with siblings, everything.
Friends, even at work.
At work, professional relationships. Yes.
Yeah, it goes beyond that. So, like you said, you're gonna have to do another show for that.
I have to make sure we'll do it somehow. I have to make sure we'll do it. But let's stick to. But I think marriage is a representation of how we behave because of those things.
Yes.
So we're still going to touch on them because marriage and religion, they are like, some people say it's an institution created by God. Okay, great. If that's where you end and use that same sentence, as beautiful as that sentence, if you use it to judge the significant other, you would destroy that same institution.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it wouldn't matter all of a sudden. And then you say, because they believe in God. No, it's because you don't understand relationships and how people work. If you force people to believe in the way you believe, you're going to push them away. It's just what it is. It's just the way we operate.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Now we kind of touched on a little bit of the lessons there a little bit. Can you share? We know the sister, the mother of our kids. We know her very well. We met when we were neighbors here a little while, and we were quite confused all the while because I'm like, are they roommates? Are they married? Which one?
Boy, you thought that?
Huh? Because he told me after a while, like they're not exactly.
A very outgoing person. She's mostly at home, and so you didn't see a lot of her.
There's no way we could have. Were you able to tell that they were not together?
No,
we couldn't tell. We couldn't tell.
You guys seem like you're like best friends. I mean, the vibes I got was always good. So
Tumi turned 12 2 days ago.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And Tumi used to be, when Femi and used to come and Yinka come to carry Tumi when it was like 2 years old, right?
Yeah.
And we'll go spend time. So sometimes we'll come pick him up, and we met her a few times. She's the nicest person. There's no way we could ever be able to tell until maybe when you guys were moving. I think it was when you guys were moving that you were not saying, "Oh, you're going to Tampa," and some people are going to why? And then you're like, "Oh, we were never." I was like, "Wow." But that was when we when we ended up in a crisis in our 8-year, 9-year anniversary, like the marriage was over, I was determined that
It was actually our 10th year, babe.
it was 10th year, yeah. I was determined. It was 10th year. Sorry, I was determined that she's gonna have an awesome. I'm gonna make sure I have her back, regardless of what happens. You know, and I've seen you're one of the examples I've seen. I've seen a few examples. I always quote. I don't know what happens with the celebrities, but I look at PDD and his relationship with this baby mother. Like, why does he have to be? No, it doesn't. We don't have to marry. No, we don't have to be. If it's not working out, it's not working out. Yeah. We can move on. When we see Yinka, Femi, and what's his name? Deji. When I see them, you will never be able to tell with those kids that, and it's showed because they're watching. They know what love means. They know when to back off. They know when to come in. They know, because you guys have demonstrated that for them, you know. But I want you to tell us the love story behind that. You were in college. You were 21. You were 22. You know, people always forget. Like, people always tell me, he did this. He's like, okay, let's go back to when you met. It wasn't like that. It's clearly you fell for something. What is your love story? How did you meet?
Well, I had a friend. This was way back when I was in. I used to live in Plainfield, and I had a friend who loves boxing, and this is when Mike Tyson was the king of boxing at that time. So every Mike Tyson fight, he would order it on pay-per-view, and so I was in a transition at that time. Just remember that my heart got broken by a lady, a Nigerian lady, actually. I was dating her, and she became a celebrity.
Oh.
Pretty much overnight, she became a celebrity. Wow. And it was a long distance relationship. So I was still in school and working, and she's a celebrity, touring the whole country and, you know, meeting Hollywood actors and you name it, you know, governors and senators and stuff like that.
Sorry, Uncle, 1 second. All 6 of you watching us on Instagram, if you want, you could go to YouTube or Facebook and type in Lola and Ola so you can see Uncle's pretty face. If you want to come and hang out over here, that's why we're talking to him, okay? All right. So just go, you could literally type in lolaandola.com/live and it should take you there. Go ahead, bros.
Yeah, so so I was in transition. He pretty much told me that at that time, that was my ex, that, you know, we're growing apart and it's not fair for her to still be in a relationship with me, because when we're not together, she doesn't miss me, and she has people like catering to her and all that stuff, that she just wants to be fair because she knows I'm a good guy and I don't deserve.
This is the person from before.
Young too. Oh, really?
So I accepted it, you know, but it crushed me, I have to admit. You know, it's the first time that I've ever felt that way, you know. And it took a while for me to even want to date again. So my friend, of course, tried to help me, you know, to get me engaged. And of course, because I'm also an athlete, so I used that to help me to deal with the situation. So this particular day, it was Mike Tyson's fight night. So I went to his house. He ordered the pay-per-view, and he was there and some other friends, and his girlfriend was there too. So his girlfriend was like, "Oh, you know, I have a friend, and I think, you know, you should talk to her and say hello and this and that." So I was like, no, I'm sorry, thank you, I appreciate it, you know, I don't want to. And then the next thing I know is she brought the phone to me and said, "Oh, she's on the line. Why don't you say hello?" And she could hear the conversation. So I didn't want to be rude. I said, "Okay, I'll say hello." So I took the phone from her and I said hello. And it was supposed to be just a hello. We were on the phone for like an hour.
Jeez, from a hello.
Wow, from a hello.
It was supposed to be a hello.
You had that much game, huh?
Nice to hear your voice. That's all it was supposed to be. But we ended up talking for like an hour that night. And then a couple of days after that, I went over to see her. And of course, when I saw her, she was the exact opposite of my ex-girlfriend, which was very appealing to me. You know, when I met her, she was in t-shirt. She even had a hat on with shorts, and she knew I was coming with no makeup on.
So she's laid back. She's not no stress.
No stress. She wasn't trying to impress me. That's what impressed me.
Wow.
She wasn't trying to impress because she knew I was coming. She knew I was coming. At least she knew an hour or two that I was coming to see her. She didn't try to impress me, and that impressed me. And then when I got there, I asked her that, okay, why don't we go for dinner? You know, I'll take her out to dinner and stuff. And then she scored another point by asking me to wait for her parents to come back home.
Oh, wow.
So that she can at least let them know that she's going out with me. And she wanted me to wait in her living room also.
You were able to wait in the living room too?
I was able to wait in the living room for her parents to come home. And that impressed me again. So I was like, wait a minute. This is something special here.
Wife.
So I waited for her parents to arrive, and they did. You know, I didn't see any frown. They didn't frown. There was no frown on their face, or maybe surprised to see a strange person in the house. And then we went out to eat. Brought her back home, and then of course I wanted to see her again. And then I wanted to see her again, and before you knew it,
you're getting married.
We were officially dating.
You know, you had 3 kids.
Officially dating, and we dated for about 3 years before we got married. So, yeah, that's my story.
3 years. You know, a lot of people would say, if you don't date long enough, marriage can break up and stuff like that. People have all this kind of theory out there. A lot of them come from common sense.
It doesn't matter.
But when we dated for 3 years too before we got married, a lot of people thought she was pregnant.
Oh yeah, people thought, why are you getting married so early? I think someone actually asked Ola, why are you getting married so early? Is your girlfriend pregnant? And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. all those things don't matter. Some of the lessons that with this interview that we're gonna try to extract out of you, it's really what I think people should watch out for. It doesn't matter if they are dating for 2 months before they get married, or they are dating for 6 years before they decide to never get married. All those rules out the window, right? You have to be married to your best friend, but that's bottom line. And then you guys can choose to say, hey, we don't want to do this anymore for weird reasons. Who knows? Things happen in life.
Right.
But that whole choke holding people, smothering people, like you said, the fact that she's just laid back.
Yes.
That's basically all you needed. This one asked me at SS County, Bawoni, and that's all that won my heart. I'm like, why is she acting like my mother?
Nonsense.
Like, oh, she's not that old. Oh. But so what do you like most about the marriage institution?
I'll tell you right now, I think it's the best thing that can happen to a man or a woman. And the reason is the word marriage. It means you are. It means you are allowing someone into your world. You know, you're allowing someone to, the ultimate vulnerability is marriage.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you are putting your life in someone's hands, and vice versa. So it means without looking at your back, you have someone making sure everything in your back is okay.
Yeah.
You know, you have someone who cares about you, who puts you first before themselves,
Mm.
who cares about your well-being, your mental health, about, and you can't, someone who would say it's okay, you know, someone you can run to, you can talk to when you've done something right, you can share with that person. If you've done something wrong, you can share with that person. They will never judge you. They will not never. They'll,
Hopefully not, right? They're
they're not supposed to.
not
Well,
supposed to judge
if they're
you.
judging you, then that's not a marriage, really.
Mm.
That is not a marriage.
It's like judging yourself,
Yes,
actually.
if
Because
you're
you're
judging
one.
each other, you should
Then you don't have a marriage.
you don't have a marriage. Ooh, ooh.
I agree with you.
That's deep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't.
100%, 100%.
100% you don't.
Yeah.
You just have an associate. You have a friend.
Hmm.
You don't have a marriage if that's what you're doing in your marriage. You know. So for me, marriage institution is I miss it. Let me tell you, I miss it a great deal.
Hmm.
And if the opportunity comes for me to be in a marriage again,
Mm-hmm.
I would not hesitate.
Mm.
Wow.
Only because of what I've learned over the years.
Yes, you're
Yes.
wiser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would tread very carefully,
Hmm.
you know, but if everything looks great and everything looks positive,
Mm-hmm.
oh, definitely, I would commit in a heartbeat
Hmm.
Wow.
to it
Yeah.
because I think it's fantastic. I think it's great.
When people go run into crisis with marriage, they obviously are in a state of mind where they are disappointed and they are bitter. Anger is a real thing when they go through that kind of stuff, and a lot of people find themselves, even if they want it, they say, "I don't think I want that anymore," because all they remember is the bitter experience of the fight back and forth, the argument, the toxic, thick tension that's always in the household all the time because they are, for the most part, arguing about nothing really. you know because like you said, it really, all somebody has to do is don't judge, just be content in who you are and let them be who they are. And when they everybody wants to serve at the
Yeah,
core of it, everybody wants to be able to take care of somebody at the core of it. They would want to come back to that if you just let them be for now. Maybe they're acting out right now, just let them be for now. They will come back, and it's that much better when they come back to you because now it's their idea as opposed to you forcing them or judging them or manipulating them into doing that. So it's amazing that you will be in your position and still say that. That's a lot.
Well, obviously, Brother Tunde has grown.
Hmm.
When someone is still bitter
Hmm.
and still holding resentment, it shows that they haven't grown. It comes to
Yeah.
one when you have to let go and start working on yourself.
Yeah.
But if you just stay mad at men and say, "Oh, men are dogs," well, maybe dogs are all you're gonna attract.
Maybe you're right.
You might
Maybe
be
you're
right.
gonna attract more dogs.
so the other thing is we all have to be honest with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout all this, everything I've said so far, I think I've admitted to a lot of stuff already.
You're right.
So I'm not just pointing fingers saying it's somebody's
Mhm.
fault, it's
Yeah.
this person's fault, or no, I've taken my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being honest with myself that yes, you know what? If I didn't do this, maybe things would have been different.
Yes.
Accountability.
Yes.
Really, you have to be accountable for
Yes.
yourself. So that's big too. Also, we all
Yep.
have to be honest with each other, and it's not always the other person's fault.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
I personally don't think that you should be looking for fault. If you're going through something and you want to solve the problem, looking for fault is the worst way to do it. You should look for understanding.
Say looking for fault. There's always a fault somewhere.
There's fault anyway, so you're looking for it, you find it.
So once you realize someone's fault,
Mhm.
why don't you help the person with it?
Exactly.
Rather than judging the person or beating the person down, why don't you just help the person? That's part of love. That's part of showing love to someone.
Wow.
That's love.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna get there, boss.
You're
We're gonna
right.
get there.
You're right.
All right. So PolitiFact.com estimated in 2012 that new couples have a 40 to 50% chance that their marriage will last a lifetime. I don't think that's necessarily news to anybody in the world, but those are the numbers. Like when you're getting married, you have 40 to 50% chance that it will last. Do you believe that, and why do you think that is? By the way, second marriages have 76% chances of failing. So there's some real issues there. Obviously, you have, tọmọdé bá láṣọ ju àgbàlagbà lọ kò lè ní àkísà ju àgbàlagbà lọ. Please tell us.
Tí ọmọdé bá láṣọ bí àgbà kò lè lákìsà bí
Ondo ni mò ń sọ
àgbàlagbà.
now.
Oh my God.
Why is she correcting my accent? I don't understand.
She's the way.
Why are you correcting my accent? We all have accent. What do you mean?
What? You mother do. Jesus.
What that means for people that don't understand Yoruba is if I have more outfits or clothing than an elderly person, I cannot have more rags than you. You will still. It's either you have more clothing than me or you have more rags. One way or the other, you have some experience that I can learn from. Essentially,
Exactly.
is the point.
Wisdom.
Do you believe that, and why do you think that is?
See, one thing I would say that would sum it all up is, and I've learned this over the years, that you never know how you're going to react to a situation until when you're in that situation.
Fact.
Jeez. So all these statistics that you're showing me right now that you're talking about, I don't believe in them.
You don't believe in them?
I don't believe in that statistics that you're showing right now.
Or you think it's lower?
It could be higher, it could be lower. Like I said, we're all different. We all have different level of tolerance.
Yes.
Yes.
We all have different emotional levels too. Okay, I'm the one telling you now that if it wasn't for religion, I'll probably still be deeply in my marriage. But at that time, when religion affected my marriage, I did what was best at that time. What I knew that was best is what I did at that time.
Right.
This is a new me now. I would not have done it that way with this new me right now. So you don't know what you'll do until when you're in the situation. So
yes. That is true.
Yeah. So I think, the most important thing in a marriage is freedom.
Freedom.
Yes.
You have to let your partner be free to express themselves how they. And if it's not what you want, then you shouldn't be married to them in the first place.
Right.
So while you're dating, that's when you need to get to know your partner and know that, okay, this is what I want. This is what I can live with this. There is good, bad, ugly, indifferent. All the negative ones is not a deal breaker. Yes, I want to move forward, in marriage with this person.
Yeah.
Once you do, you're committed.
Yes.
You can't commit and then later on say, you know what, I was wrong, I changed my mind. Then you've not only wasted your time, you've wasted the other person's time.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
You have to be sure before you go into it, But you have to let people be who they are.
You have to let them be free.
Yes.
Right. Once you marry a person, they will evolve too.
Yes.
What if they change? You mentioned that earlier.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of mistakes that we all make, and I'm guilty, is you say, oh, they will change over time. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I know this is how she is, but with time that's gonna change, you know, or I will change her. No, it
It doesn't work out.
doesn't work that way.
You should just let them be free if you want to be in that marriage.
What you see is what you get. If you don't like it, then don't move forward with the marriage.
Right? That's
I
allowable
agree.
too.
Yes.
Like it, and you know that's okay with you, then move forward and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's a chapter in our book about the myth of the one. You know, the soulmate thing. You know, some people get stuck with that, and they will rather live in misery than to let go of the soulmate. Right?
It's real. It's real, especially in our parents' era. How many people do you know that are 50 years married and they don't even have sex with each other anymore? Since like 30 years ago.
Speaking of, is sex food for you in a marriage, and why? That's supposed to be, and why?
I would say it's it's critical. It's one of the components of being in a marriage, and you can't discount it. You can't trade it. It's let's put it this way: it's the glue. It's the glue in a marriage, really.
It's a what?
It's the glue.
It's the glue.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now. I probably would have been separated much earlier, but it got delayed. Reason is we had Femi. So while we were both trying to salvage the marriage, salvage this and that, Femi was born. This is funny. Femi was born in October. Okay, Lola, do the math. 9 months before
That's who was born in February or
No,
January?
Femi was born in October.
Right, I know. You said do the math. 9 months.
9 months before. That's February. That's February 14th. That's Valentine's area. Okay.
Right.
So we took a Valentine trip to salvage, the marriage
Make it work.
to help it. No, it did work. It worked at that time. Femi was born 9 months later. Okay. And even 2 months after Femi was born, we were okay because, like I said earlier, sex is very, very important in a marriage. It's not the only thing. Let's be real.
Right.
But it's critical.
It's critical.
It is.
One of the critical components of the marriage.
Yeah. So you're saying if a couple is married and they're having sexlessness issues, you're saying that's going to be that's going to turn out to be a serious problem for them.
I think that's a marriage that's doomed already if they're having sex issues.
Yeah.
I think that marriage is doomed already.
About 15%, study shows that about 15% of marriages are essentially sexless marriages, for one reason or the other. Some of them are medical related.
Well, then that's the exception right there.
Yes.
Right. The exception is you still love your partner and you're very, very understanding and tolerant if your partner is in a situation where they can't.
Right.
For health reasons, for other reasons. When you know that, you will understand that. But if your partner just doesn't feel like it, or they're just making a conscious
attraction issues, right?
If they're making a conscious choice not to be intimate with you, then that's the one that destroys marriages, really, because that's the one you just can't understand why it's not happening.
Right.
And that would cause other things to happen that would ultimately destroy the marriage.
Because some older folks, not older folks, or people that are also, there are some people they call old soul, right? They say, is it food?
Also,
right? They say, is it food? But I absolutely 100% agree that it is the glue. It's the one thing that's present in a marriage that's not in other types of relationships.
There you go.
that's true.
And I do notice that if you have, sex is that one thing that you need someone to feel heard, to feel like they're in love for them to have it. People just don't fall out of the sky and start having sex. That would not, that can't, that's not going to last, before people, because that people do that for a while sometimes because they feel obligated to do that. They feel a sense of it's a duty, right?
Huh?
What do you think about sex as a duty? Is this supposed to be, because we just talked about freedom and all this stuff. What if somebody say, I don't feel like it, and it's a consistent issue? Right?
Once you see it as a duty, then it's a problem.
Yes,
Hmm.
fact.
Once
One
you
thing
see
Christian today.
it as an obligation, then it's a problem.
Yes.
In my own opinion, um, it should be spontaneous and it should be on demand.
Hmm.
Mm.
It's like watching cable on demand.
Mm.
You can just get whatever show
It should be X-rated.
between a couple, between
Between
partners.
a couple. Right.
It should be on demand and it should be um, you know, spontaneous.
Mm.
It's not something you mark on your calendar that you know
Mm.
3 times a week or oh, we did it yesterday, so we don't have to do it today,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
or we've done it twice today already. Can't do it 3 times in a day. No, it doesn't. It shouldn't have a schedule. It shouldn't have a timetable or anything like that. It should be spontaneous and
Right.
and on demand because look, we're all humans. Um, Sometimes it might not register in my brain,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the feelings that I have for my partner, or
Mm-hmm.
because of the affection that I feel for my partner, if
Mm-hmm.
my partner is in the mood, or if my partner, you know, I guess wants to engage, in that way, that will stimulate me.
Right.
Why? Because of the feelings that I have for my partner.
Right.
And if it's really, really not the right time for me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, there should be a way to communicate that between two people to say, okay, you know, um, you don't even have to say much. Your partner will know when if it's not the right time.
Right.
Right. Right.
But then you have some couples that say that, oh, their kids are in the way, they don't let them have sex, or it's too much work. So a whole month goes by and they've not had any intimacy.
And as an add-on to that question, at what point should you know? You're just letting them free. At what
Or it's
point should you
bothering
know
you.
that it's taking a little bit long time, right? At what point should you say, bro, there's an issue here. What are we doing, right? What would that be for you?
Well, with what Lola said about the kids and stuff, if the kids are in the way, then that means you need to manage your time better. You know, better time management because the kids are in the way means okay, you probably live in a small enclosure, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom that you can't really do much with. You don't have that much privacy,
Right.
and then that way you need to be uh, creative about how you manage your time. You
Mhm.
know how to make sure that that is inclusive in your planning for the day or for the night or weekend or whatever. So if you live in a mansion, I don't think that would be a problem because you could be at
The space.
there's space. You could be at opposite ends of the house, and you have lots of privacy, you know.
So you're saying if you live in a mansion and you're still giving that excuse, it's probably attraction issues. Is that what you're saying?
That's the problem. Yeah. You see, that's the whole thing. Once you eliminate all the reasons why you can't do something,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's still a problem, if there's still a problem there where you're still not doing what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a deep lying problem there somewhere, you know, because you know we're still human beings. People will fake things sometimes, will fake injury, will fake headache, will fake a backache, you know, just so they don't engage in something. But once you start doing that, then
That's the problem.
there is a problem.
That's the problem. Yes. And having a problem is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means it's time to learn something new. It's time to figure out a solution. Because some people, once they hear a problem, they run for the hills.
Yeah, or they get defensive.
Or get defensive, yes.
Right.
You know, because if you say, hey, we didn't do it for the past 1 month, instead of saying, oh, that's true. Some people take that as an attack.
Yeah,
And-
but they don't say why. Don't say we didn't do it. Say why haven't you done it? And you have
So the
to
person that's complaining should also come up with a better way of communicating
you
it.
have to be honest with yourself. Why haven't we done it? And to be honest, if it's not happening, I think you probably know why. You just don't want to
You know why?
know why. You just don't want to face it.
Right.
Mm.
I agree.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
These are very hard conversations for people to have because, like you said, it's a lot sweeter when it's spontaneous. When it's just like fling your clothes this way and then just goes that way, and then we just hang on the ceiling fan, right? Right? It's a lot. It feels a lot better, right? But
it's supposed to be fun. So why take the fun out of it by scheduling things and by begging? No, you shouldn't.
So how do you find? What would you advise to find the balance between? Because I don't agree with the scheduling thing all the way, though. And I don't agree with when it comes to marriage, we all get complacent. You know, life gets in the way. Can you give some advice in terms of finding the balance of making it spontaneous, but hey, don't let it go for like 3 months before you, because then that means you have a problem, right?
Well, it should, to start with, if it's not for any other reason, like medical or any other reasons why you can't, I don't know about any relationship that will survive sexless for 3 months.
That's a long time.
So that's a long time. So I would say the balance is you just have to be real. You know, you have to be real and see, okay, this is our life. Our kids are still young. We live in a very confined space, or our work schedule. You know, while I'm home, she's at work, or while she's home, he's at work. So, how much time do you guys spend together? You need to manage that time properly, because if the interest is in both partners, then you will find a way. And where there's a will, there is a way.
There is a fact.
Yes.
Where there's a will, there is a way. You will find a way. It's like me, Ola, you know me. You know, it doesn't matter how busy I am. I will always find time to be out there on the field playing.
Yes. Because
as busy as I am, I'll find.
Because you wanted that bad enough.
Oh yeah. I mean that's my passion.
That's your passion.
My passion to be working out, to be exercising, to be running, to be playing ball. So definitely I would find a way to do it.
So it comes down to sometimes people lose passion in their marriage.
There you go.
Why is that?
And when you lose the passion, then there's a problem. There's an underlying problem that needs to be fixed, needs to be addressed.
If somebody lost, what's the English here? If somebody lost passion for their marriage, right? And it's attraction, right? It's an attraction issue it's kind of like how we lost the market for a second right now, and there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the market, right?
Right.
but they're complacent right now. They're not feeling each other. They spend too much time together, but either the husband or the wife, they're feeling like, I think, I should let go. Is there any reason why any other reason that somebody should fight for their marriage? Is there any value you can maybe tell us that, okay, you know what? This is just based off of your feeling, right? Should people just let go of a marriage just because they're feeling somehow temporarily? Or is there some things you can point out and say, this is why you want to fight for this marriage? This is why. So it's kind of going back to the other question I asked you, what do you like most about marriage? If you can just point them out again, why someone should put some effort into fighting for a marriage and why that's very important. Or if not, or if don't worry about it.
Yeah. In today's world, we all want to be independent. We all want to, take care of ourselves, be independent, not to rely on people or anyone. But that's like an oxymoron when it comes to marriage. A marriage is all about relying on someone. It's about having someone as your partner where, okay, you know what, I don't have to put too much energy into this area because I have someone there already, and she doesn't have to put that much energy into this because he already has me. So um, people just need to understand what marriage is. And to really, really get the concept of marriage, and don't try to put their own definition into it. And I'll give you an example. And one day you might see this and she might be embarrassed, but I'll tell you right now.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you right now. When she was 16, she came to me and
wait, you guys already 16? I'm confused.
kidding.
Oh, she's isn't she like 18 or 19 now?
In 3 days, Yinka was 23.
No! Oh my God, she's
Oh
so
my God.
grown.
And you said she will see this. She will see. I'll send her online. I'll send it to her.
Yinka was 23.
Wow.
Wow.
Deji will be 24.
That's amazing.
Wow.
This year. But anyway, when she was 16,
that's in real life. That's like Yinka is 27 because she acts like 5 years older than her age.
So she came to me and asked me. She said, "Dad, how would you feel? I want to know what you'll feel. If I want to go to the movies with this guy from my school. And so I sat her down. I said, okay, it's time for us to have a discussion now. So I told her. I said, okay, number one, you want to go out to the movies with a guy in your school. So don't tell me he's your friend. That's a date.
That's a date.
That is a date. So I said, I'm not saying you shouldn't go, but before you go, as a parent, it's my duty to let you know that, okay, it's a date, and it's very possible that the date he will become a boyfriend. So I took my pen and a paper and I wrote down about 20 or 25 different things that a boyfriend would require from a girlfriend.
Uh-oh. It got real. It got real.
And everything, and I showed it to her, and we went through it one by one. I said, Yinka, are you ready? Are you ready to commit to all these 20 things? He's like, oh no, Daddy, no way. Because on the list, yes, sex is in there.
Yeah.
On the list, I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
What a boyfriend and girlfriend does, everything I put out on the list. And she's like, oh no, Daddy, I'm not ready for that. I said, then you're not ready to date.
Uh-oh.
You're not ready to go into the movie with a guy. I said, but this is what you can do. Why don't you ask a bunch of your friends, like maybe another girl or another guy.
Mm.
So you can all go as a group.
You feel comfortable that way.
I said, I don't even mind. I'll drop you guys off and I'll pick you up.
And she probably said, no, don't drop off like that. Huh?
That's what she did eventually.
That's because you guys are your best friend. If another person would say, no, Dad, you don't have to drop us off.
I'm telling you this story because
Real.
in a marriage, there are some things that you just have to assume. I mean, you have to make it part of you. You know, and if you're not ready to be a wife, then don't ask for the ring or say no. If someone wants to give you the ring, say no to it. You know, offer for die. If you're not ready to be a husband, then
You have to be ready.
Don't go into it. Don't go into a marriage because you're going to go into it, and then the inevitable will happen because if you're not ready, you're just not ready. So you have to embrace that concept of marriage. So it's important to know what marriage is.
When you go into a marriage, you should be prepared that you are going to have days that you felt like you made the wrong decisions. That's why it's a commitment. And you should ask yourself, what would I do on the day that I feel like this was a wrong decision? This is very tough questions to really, really pound on and ask ourselves. If somebody say, what is your definition of marriage, please? I think, is there any other special than, I don't know. What's the definition of marriage?
Yeah, I already said it. You have to be free.
I mean, it's the ultimate reliance on a partner.
You also said vulnerability. You're opening your world up for someone else to come in, and you're living that life every day indefinitely.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're saying from your experience that if you have that opportunity again, you will take it as long as it's right, because you know that marriage is an awesome thing.
It's awesome, yeah.
A lot of people argue back and forth today.
But it's not easy to find the right person.
Was that?
It's not easy to find the right person.
Especially when you know so much, bros. You probably know too much.
It's not easy to find the right person.
I think for some, not all, for some it gets harder the older you get. Maybe there's a flat line somewhere though, where you just like
you're guarded.
But then the on the flip side of it, it has to start somewhere. So you can't just meet someone and say, would you marry me? You have to start dating.
Right.
You have to start getting to know that person. Ultimately, you probably need to coexist in the same environment just to get to know the person a little bit more intimately.
Yes.
And of course, let's not fool ourselves. You need to have an intimate relationship with that person.
Right. Because that's part of we'll get there when we get to the religion part, because that's part of the issues that a lot of people go through. Some people try to oversimplify it by saying, oh yeah, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Like, hey, who knows when they're ready? It's a lot more complex than just saying, like I'm talking about premarital sex now, so when you start planting seeds of religion in people's heads, sometimes that becomes a real serious complication for them. But I want to touch on that when we get there. I have this next question for you. What did you struggle the most with respect to marriage?
What I struggle the most with is I would say still I would say the communication aspect as in I still want to be myself, I still want to be the one that anyone can call at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No boundaries, huh?
That I need your help, and then I'm like, okay.
You just got real there. You know why I got real? Because we can relate.
I still want to be that person, but then in a marriage, that's very difficult.
Yeah.
it's very difficult for your partner to understand that somebody else can call you at 2 o'clock in the morning that they need you, and then you're off. It takes a deep, deep understanding, very
It
deep,
does.
Yeah.
to be able to accept that, or to be able to understand that.
But how do you communicate that? Because I do feel like some men can be arrogant about it. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah just called me and I gotta go. And the wife is like, do you really have to go? You can't stop me. I am going. How do you make your partner feel like, you know what? They trust you that you're going to do what you said you're going to do. You're not doing something other than that. Because in situations like that, there's no trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
if there's no trust,
yeah, they have to be trust in the marriage. The trust has to be very deep.
It has to be deep.
Yeah. Trust is
and I also think your partner, whoever your partner is, they have to be solid in themselves, like very secure that, you know what, I'm good regardless. Even if this guy mess up right now, that's his loss, not mine.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's very important to feel secure.
Yes.
The security is very, very important because and then I'll tell you another thing. In a marriage, when trust is not there, it's either you have evidence not to trust someone. But if you don't have evidence not to trust someone, but you just don't trust them, it's because you're not secure yourself.
Yes. That's insecurity. Yes.
It's trust issue.
It's because you know that you're not up to par in some things, and you're afraid that your partner will go out there and
do the same thing.
Yes.
and have something better than what
you're. Yes. Trust, respect, and submission. In recent times, I put them in a box. They have to be earned. So
at the same time, also we need to help our partner for them to feel secure also.
Yes, absolutely. We always, when we're talking to people, we always approach things from the standpoint of the person that's complaining. Because it's just, remember that layer thing we're talking about, you eliminate, right? If you're the one complaining, let's see how you can help the other person achieve what you're looking to achieve, because you're also part of that equation.
Right.
So I would say like you said, if there's no evidence, like you can't even touch it, like you can't pinpoint it. This is why I don't trust him. So we can address that appropriately. If you can't, that's insecurity issues essentially. And that will destroy your marriage as much as somebody actually doing you wrong, because it has that same effect. It's just like polar opposite essentially,
Right.
So, but I'm not sure if I got to your answer. What did you? Okay, communication. So communication, and then you talked about wanting to be free. So you would need a partner that would understand that, or even if they understand, they can ask you like, why is somebody calling you in the middle of the night? Like, or somebody that understands that, hey, Uncle Tunde is everyone's uncle. You married somebody else's uncle.
Right.
they can call him at 3 a.m.
Right? Because the thing is, people love. I feel like you attract a lot of women that like your free spirit and all of that. But once they get married to you, they'll probably start complaining or trying to change you.
Right.
For who you are. They forget that part that they fell in love with. People are in marriages like that.
Yeah. Especially for people like me. I'm a people person. I love to make friends. And then I probably wouldn't even have met my partner if I wasn't so friendly.
That is so true.
Exactly.
Now I'm my partner, and now you don't want me to be as friendly anymore.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's very tough. And
it's tough. It's tough.
Now like that.
Well, like you said, it's also take understanding on the part of the person. If you don't want to, your wife understands or your partner understands, but you don't want to just random. You want to be understanding too, and not pick up random calls at 2 a.m. Not abuse it, right? You don't just be like, I know she lets me do this, but I don't want to abuse that. I want her to see me not picking up the phone, even though it's ringing at time. oh yeah, I'll handle that tomorrow or something like. It just takes the two balancing acts anyway. All right, so
If anyone's calling you at 2 a.m., it better be an emergency.
Yes, that's true.
That's reasonable.
Somebody's lives better be in danger, or someone is dying or something. I mean, that cannot be a casual call.
Yeah.
If it's a casual call, then you're not being realistic. You're not being fair in that marriage.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. So if you were to get married today again, what would be a deal breaker with respect to staying in the marriage? Like this thing, I can't deal. I can't. I have to. What is that one thing, if you have one?
What I wouldn't, it would be someone holding me to a standard, or even if you have a standard, I'd rather you keep it to yourself and not judge me or not hold me to any standard at all. I would want you to just accept me for who I am. And if I'm not up to your standard, then it's okay. I don't mind you telling me this is not working out, and then we'll move we'll go our separate ways.
So if you don't feel free, is that what you're saying?
You just want peace.
I just want to be at peace. I want to do my own thing.
A lot of men will claim that's what they want.
I want to do my own thing with risk, knowing that okay, I am in a relationship, okay, and I would not do anything to disrespect that relationship. Okay. If I want to go out and I said, oh, do you want to come with me? And you said no. I said, okay, I'll see you later. I'm gone.
Right.
But while I'm out there, I'm not out there disrespecting our relationship. I'm just out there to have fun. I'm just out there to enjoy myself, and that's it. And you need to believe me, and you need to trust me that, okay, he's out there, he's having fun, but I have none to worry about because I know he would not disrespect our relationship, and yeah. So I mean, I like to be treated the way I treat people. I would never ever. I mean, I've learned my lesson. I would never put anybody in a confinement, or tell them how they should live, what they should believe in, and how they should do things. And I don't like people telling me something either.
I have a question for you, Tunde. What do you feel about friends that they kind of like you, but they don't like your spouse? So they invite you somewhere and they say, don't bring your wife. I just can't stand her. What do you think about people like that? Because I feel like that's another issue that married people go through for some reason.
Well, I'll tell you, it has happened to me.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this is how I dealt with it. I want to know why they don't like my spouse or my partner, and once I find out why, I will try to bridge the gap. And if I can't bridge the gap and I can't resolve anything, my loyalty is with my partner.
Facts.
Word.
You're a solution-oriented person, so you're at least trying to see why. Unlike me, I'm trying to be like, are you crazy? I can't bring my spouse? Then I'm not coming. What do you mean?
My loyalty is with my partner. Yeah.
If you would even think about that in the way you process, that you will invite me and outrightly tell me I can't bring my spouse, you're probably dangerous around me. Yeah, I don't know if I would. It depends. It depends on how close that person is. Yes. I don't know if I will waste energy on even trying to convince that person to suddenly like my spouse.
Because that actually happens in family too.
How you know that person?
Yeah,
because it happens in families too. Like
it
she
does
said,
happen in family.
like your sibling will say, "Don't bring your wife."
Because honestly, you have to give the benefit of the doubt because no one's perfect.
No one is perfect. Yes.
Maybe your partner, your spouse, wronged them. Somehow, and haven't gotten over it, So why don't you just listen, hear them out,
Right.
know why they feel that way towards your partner,
Yeah.
and see how you can bridge that gap because you care about both
That relationship.
that relationship, and but ultimately, now if you know that they're being unreasonable,
Yeah.
then your loyalty is to your partner.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
great.
should be at least. All right.
That's so interesting.
Because some people may be in a situation where he said, I can't bring you. What do you want me to do?
I think that's crazy.
What do you want me to do? And it's like, oh yeah, we're in. So do you have a tip for young married couples? 3 years, 4 years in, 1 year, anything under 6 years. You had 6 years, you have 3 kids. She's your friend now. You're a blessed man, and you know that in hindsight, you would want to do everything in your power to keep that. What's your advice for young married couples?
I would say just well, they're already married, so
They're married, yeah.
yeah, they're already married. So I would
You
say,
know, before you go, why I didn't ask you what's your advice for people that want to get married? Because they're not gonna hear. It doesn't matter how much
They already have their checklist.
premarital thing they go through.
yeah,
They can't comprehend what they're about to get into.
Right.
They can know the theory of what not to do, like you said. Until you are in it, you don't know what you would do.
what you would do. Yeah.
So I always like okay, they're in it now. Okay, and when I look across board, there's some very common issues going on with many of them,
Yeah.
and like I said earlier, that 40-60% thing, I agree with you. No one should believe that's their fate. But the divorces out there, if I tell you some of my contemporaries that are already divorced, there are a lot of them. So, and they're more than 50%. So,
Wow.
but I agree that it doesn't have to be their fate, but give them advice so that it really doesn't become their fate. Maybe 1 or 2 things that they should look out for.
I would say they should just invest time in themselves,
Invest time.
Yes.
time in their marriage.
That's important.
Don't just automatically think, oh, it's gonna be okay, or oh, we're together. No, invest time in it. Have nights, have have you know this is another it's something that I believe in, that if if I care so much that pleasing you is very, very important to me as my partner,
Mm-hmm.
feel the same way that you just want to please me and I just want to please you,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't think we can go wrong. So they need to invest in themselves, they need to rely on each other more. And when I say invest in themselves, it means they should do things together.
Yes, I agree.
Do things together. Find the common interests.
Mm.
It's okay to have to do things separately. It's okay to do things separately, but they should try to find more things that they have in common and do that more often. You know, um, and then the over reliance also has to do with trust. It has to do with I know with him or with her, I'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Yes, okay. Even at at the worst days, I still have someone who would hug me and tell me everything's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other thing I would say is, uh, and this is a mistake that I made.
Mm.
Never ever do anything because of the children.
Mm.
I mean, for me, never try to salvage a marriage because of the kids.
Mm.
Never try to hang in, hang in there in a bad relationship
Because of the kids.
because of the kids.
You have to, yeah. So don't use the kids
As
as
a
a pawn of
excuse.
any type.
Yeah.
At all.
Find yourself, figure yourself out. This is about you.
Because you met that person before you had kids
Yes.
together. You loved each other before the kids, and after you're in a marriage now with kids, don't put the kids before your spouse.
Hmm.
They're both equally important.
That's a struggle for women, actually.
Yeah, a lot of women do that.
It's a
Once they are
struggle.
going through a crisis,
Yeah.
they marry their kids, especially if they have a young boy. And then they start treating that kid. Yeah, it's all about my kids. I just worry about my kids. And, I can't begin to say the deep, deep damage that causes, not just for the marriage that you're already damaging, but for the
toxic.
kids.
Yeah, it's toxic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go back to, like you asked me questions earlier. How do we meet? What was the love story and all that? You got to go back to that,
Yeah.
and go back to the roots and see if it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
there anymore. There's no need to force it.
Yeah. If you feel like it was never there or something like that, you really want to be honest with yourself.
Unless you did it for the wrong reason.
Hmm.
You don't say I do to someone if it was never there. And if you did that, then that's deceitful.
That's deceitful, and that's something that you need to check,
Exactly.
because it will show up in other forms later.
But
It might-
that's very common. A lot of
I
people
know.
It is.
I know.
go
The,
into
the pressure is a lot for people
a
to
lot of people go into
to a
marriage.
certain age.
They don't go into marriage for love. They go into marriage for security.
Security.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of ladies
I
that
can't
has
imagine.
been said to do that.
Marriage is security, not for love.
Wow.
Hmm.
And then that's a relationship that's doomed already, because
It is.
if the security does not extend, if it doesn't, if it's not what if once it's not there anymore,
That's it.
then you have a problem.
It's a wrap.
All right. So this next question, um, do you do you do you think do you believe in premarital abstinence before marriage, celibacy before marriage, or born again celibacy, born again virginity after before marriage or before? Do you believe in that?
So before I make a comment on that,
Uh-huh.
I want to do something for the first time.
Please,
This is breaking news.
please. Yeah.
Lola and Ola, on your show, this is breaking news.
Oh, wow.
Okay. A lot of your viewers, I'm sure they know me and they know who I was. They don't know who I am now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, who I am now, I am not a religious person anymore.
Spiritual.
I am not a Christian anymore. Let me put it that
Oh,
way.
wow.
Let's keep it. He wants to break it. He's not a Christian.
That's a bombshell right now. I'm throwing
Oh,
out.
wow.
I
It
am
is.
not a Christian anymore.
Hmm.
Okay. I am a free spirited person.
Hmm.
This has been a while. I just audited my life.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
did an audit on my life, and I came to the conclusion that religion has hurt me more than it has helped me.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't want to blame the religion for the things that I've done bad in my life,
Hmm.
because that was my choice. That was, well, I could say, yeah, I was brainwashed, or I was just following and I wasn't really myself, or it doesn't matter. it is what it is. So I'm not going to blame religion for anything, but I'm just saying that right now, I am not a Christian, I'm not a Muslim, but I'm not an atheist.
Okay.
Okay.
You're not saying there's no God.
I'm not saying there's no God, but your form of God, it would definitely be different from my form of God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so mi ò kì í ṣe aláwo káwọn èèyàn wà it's something else. No. It's not.
What's that? People start calling you right after, like, are you okay?
Deity or any human form of God or spirit or anything like no. I'm just a free spirited person. I know what's right for me. I know what's wrong in my own eyes, in my own head. I believe in the laws of the land. Laws of the land says don't go through a red light. If you go through a red light, you will be summoned and you will be fined.
That's right.
The law of the land says thou shalt not kill. If you do, you may face capital punishment. You may go to jail. I believe in law of the land. Okay, not some laws in a book. Okay, so but at the same time, I'm a human being. I have compassion. I have feeling. I have life experience.
Right.
So I just want to put that there, so
Right. So that at least we know where you're coming from.
Right.
where I'm coming from exactly.
Yes.
I want to get back to that question, but I have a question before that. There's a lot of people, you made it clear. This is you audited your personal life.
Yes.
But it's a lot of people really coming to that conclusion that were raised in one religion or the other, especially Christianity, to be honest,
I still love my Christian brothers, my Christian sisters, and my mom is a religious person. I love my mom. Okay?
So you're saying you broke mommy's heart?
Oh yeah, I did. But you know what? She wasn't happy, but I'm still her son. She still loves me equally.
Yes.
No less, no more. Maybe even more now because I've let her know this is who I am now. I've not changed my ways in any way. I still respect her. I still call her. I still I love her. I still, check on her. So I'm still the same person. Even with you.
But yeah.
Even with you, I'm not any different than what I was back then. The only difference is back then I might sit down with you and start talking about a story in a book and how that story should have, should determine the direction we go. But now it's not about that. It's about, okay, this is what's happening.
Right. What do we have now?
What do we have now? We're in June 2020.
2020.
What is happening in the world today, and how do we handle it? What are the decisions we need to make? What direction do we need to go?
Okay, so what do you think is? I don't want to get into the religious conversation too much, but I just wanted to ask this one question. It's happening quite a lot more than usual. That people will just say, it's not hard enough for me, I'm okay. A lot of people call it, I'm spiritual, I'm not religion. At first, the pastors thought they were joking when they used to use that to preach. You're not supposed to be religious. So now when we tell them we're not religious, they're like, what do you mean? What is wrong with religion? Didn't you say they're very confused when it comes down to it, right? So what do you think is responsible for young people? Someone of your experience is very unusual to change what you've always known. But we have a lot of 20-something people in their 20s really, really coming to that conclusion that that's not hard enough. We're still learning. We're trying to figure this out. A lot of them will say, no, there is God. I'm not saying there's no God. A lot of them will just go out and say, I don't know if there's God or not. right? What do you think is responsible for that?
I think people's life experience, and 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 people's life experience determine what they ultimately will believe in.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it just wasn't adding up.
Mm.
It wasn't adding up, and I had to, and then I had questions.
Mm.
I had questions that there was no answer to
They
it.
were never answered.
Till now, no answer to it.
Mm.
You know, and I just said, there's more to this than what's going on here, because all we know is what all I knew was what I was told to believe.
Mm.
And when you challenge it, then you're the I don't
You're
know,
rebellious.
you're the rebellious
Mm-hmm.
antichrist, or you
A devil's advocate.
exactly.
Some people will say, "How do you explain all of this?" I tell them, how do you explain all of that, right?
Well, there is something called nature. You know,
Mm.
nature. That's a concept that till now
That
no
stands.
that stands, and it's been in existence forever, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody has solution for a lot of things that is natural.
Mm.
And if it's
It
natural,
just is.
it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And if we're lucky, we're in this world for 90 years or 80 years or 100 for some people. And just live your own part of that,
Mm.
you know, existence in this world, and just come in, do your own bit. Hopefully you do something great and good, and then exit, because
Mm.
there's other people coming. This world is not going to end. It's not going to end. It's continuous. Okay, we all come in, we do our own bit, and
Mm.
we exit. Others are coming,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it is. No one can dominate forever. No, you can only be in existence for a amount of time. And
Mm.
while you're here, live your life. You
Mm.
know,
Your best life.
Everyone is passing anyway.
that's it. Live your life. Enjoy it as much as you can before you exit. Because once you're gone, you don't know what's on the other side.
No.
Nobody has been on the other side,
They say it is heaven
and you
and
can't.
hell or hellfire.
Paradise.
I wouldn't call it heaven. I wouldn't call it hell. I call it the other side. Nobody has ever been to the other side and
Are you sure there are many Nigerian people that wake up that say just came back from there?
Yeah, they will come.
what it's like. No one, no one is ever
White light.
that, and that would never happen.
One of the problems I have with when they try to argue with them is I say they say, "Do you think there's heaven or hellfire?" I said, but there's somebody who proved that they died
just
and they
woke
woke up. I was like, how is that person a proof for you? I don't understand. Why would that person be your proof that there's heaven and hellfire? If somebody just died, they were in a coma.
I would ask that person what was the last meal they had. What was the last meal? And yeah, it's. I mean, let's be real here. Let's be real.
I mean, Uncle Tunde, I can relate with you in my own little experience, because I feel like Christians, and I'm going to say Christians because that's the religion I belong to, okay? We don't show enough love. Where the church is where people are supposed to be open, be more, come as you are. But the minute somebody come that doesn't look like us, we pick them apart. And then we wonder why people are running away. They want to be free. So I can definitely relate to that.
Religion teaches us to discriminate.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the single probably most
It's sad.
one attribute I can attribute to the word religion. It's just not free.
Yeah,
It's not free. It judges.
yeah. If you're not the same religion as I am,
Mhm.
then you can't be totally free with me.
I mean, Jesus was very, very clear about do not judge, but yet
No,
that's
but
exactly what they do.
But the funny thing is, we call ourselves Christians, and then we don't act Christ-like every time. Pastors do this.
I just told you earlier that I judged my wife. She wasn't a Christian. I was a Christian.
Right.
I judged her.
You judge that, yeah, because it's inbred, it's inside, it's who we are.
She didn't behave like a Christian woman. She didn't behave like a woman that I've been told what a woman should be like. To the book that we read and according to the sermons that I've heard and everything. So when I went back home to her, I judged her. I judged her, and it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. And ultimately, it led to our
it builds up. It builds up.
It does build up.
Yeah. It builds up.
Yes.
Well, that's more like what I wanted to extract out of religion and marriage. That's more like it. But that question I asked, I guess it's fair to say, well, I don't believe in that. So anytime you're ready, just start knocking at Akpako.
Premarital sex.
Premarital sex. What's your take on that? Do you think there's any benefit for an average person to wait until you're married, or you don't think Abiko follow?
It's a personal choice.
We spoke about that earlier. Before you go into marriage with someone, you need to get to know the person. Because a marriage is
you're working with.
When you say your vows till death do us part, that means you guys are planning to be together forever until somebody dies. So someone that you live with for life, you need to know the person very well. And let's not discount sex. It's very, very important in a marriage. It's critical. It's a glue, like we said earlier. Definitely, you need to be compatible with that person. Some things get old very, very fast.
Yes.
You can hang in there for a little bit, but then for a long time, you might not be able to hang in there for a long time. You'll be like, I'm not doing this anymore. So you must know someone before you marry them, and knowing them means you must be intimate with them. You must live with them. As I don't believe in when we get married, that's when we're moving in together. No, you need to cohabitate with someone.
That's true.
You need to know. You need to be okay with their emotions. Because we all have emotions. When you're at the extremes, you need to be okay with it.
The mood swings.
Swings. When they're mad, how do they react? When they're happy, too happy, how are they? When they wake up in the morning, how are they at night? Or even their eating habits. Eating habits, you need to be okay with it. And there's no way how you're going to be okay with all these things without cohabitating with someone.
I don't know if they're filthy, dirty, or
There you go. Marriage. Marriage is a long commitment. It's a lifetime commitment, not a long time. Lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
So you need to get engaged in all these things, including sex.
Some people insist that, but it's my belief system. Okay, your belief system. You should feel on somebody's couch first.
I absolutely agree.
You should at least be tempted.
You should have seen something, because some Christian sisters are being cheated out of good sex. They're stuck in a bad sex situation here because they didn't check anything. You should have seen something. You should have smacked it or something. I'm just saying. That's how I.
Yeah, you should at least be tempted to have, to almost, let's say you have that principle that, I promised my Eleda that I have to be a virgin, right? If that's what you promise your destiny, right? Great. But the idea that you're not tempted at all there's a good chance you're not sexually attracted to each other, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
It's going to be a problem eventually, because I always tell people, like, if you feel like, oh, but for me it's not food, well, you don't know if it's food for the other person, and that means you're just as doomed.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, boss. We had a good time.
Yes.
We had a good time. We have to do another one for the religion part.
Oh my God.
Because we can talk about that one forever, you know.
I don't do religious talk.
Yeah.
It's a very sensitive.
I want it to sound like I'm knocking religion. I'm not knocking it. It's very important for some people, you know. I see it more as a guideline for morality. Some of us need to go to church or to a setting to be told to be your brother's keeper.
All right.
You know, some of us need to be told that thou shalt not kill. Okay. Some of us need to be told how to do things. Some of us need that guidance. Some of us that I guess that sermon. We need to hear that sermon. You know, we need to wake up. We need that motivation.
Yes.
And some of us just know it. Some of us just know that, okay, I'm not interested. It's not what I should do. But it's just the extent of the extent of the influence religion has on people.
Yes.
I think the world can agree that religion needs to clean itself up. You know, I mean, even look at the reaction that most pastors had with regards to, in response to COVID-19, and you know, it's a lot of arrogance on display. It's a lot of.
I'm just here waiting for when this COVID-19 is over, for religion to take the credit for it.
That one's
already taking credit.
Right now, I only see the scientists and the essential workers, the front line battling the war, you know, the battle, you know, battling everything, and everything all calm and resolved. Then I expect religion to now come to the front and take the credit for it.
We prayed.
Yeah, because that's what always happens.
That's what they do. They were on the mountain. In fact, already TB Joshua is taking snapshot of himself on the mountain.
Okay.
And right up. But hey, it's the easiest thing to sell. Who's going to prove me wrong?
Yes.
I can sell Evan all day long.
I mean, can you really blame all those pastors to look at our people? We don't empower ourselves. You want to go and stand in front of some pastor before you know that you can do something for yourself.
But Lola, you have to also consider that the people they're taking advantage of, they are very less privileged people. So desperation leads people on a path that they would not even believe that they can go through that path.
Wow.
When people are desperate, it's like someone that is terminally ill, that knows they're going to die in 2 or 3 months, and medicine and science cannot help that person anymore. And then here comes this religious person that says, "Oh, I can help you." I bet you they will try it.
Yes, you're right.
Because they're desperate.
They sell the hope and they're desperate. And
because they're desperate. And religion takes advantage of that. It looks for people that are desperate. People who are looking for something that they're not ready to work for. And they will try it. And while trying it, you know, they will lose a lot of stuff before they realize that they're chasing a wild goose.
Yeah, I do actually. I know someone that sold everything she has, everything. Her and her husband, successful diplomat and everything, and they followed TB Joshua. It was just strange to me. Like, how could you live abroad? And I feel like your mindset is different, but because you're missing something, like they don't have kids, you know, And this person's not even Nigerian.
See?
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This person I'm telling you about is been like 3 years now, and she's still on that journey.
But that's the power of religion.
That is so sad.
It's a very powerful tool.
Oh my God.
In the hands of the wrong people. It's there's a reason why they use it. It's because it's ultimately because of power. It's a power tool, and that's what it comes down to. And the people that we may even want to, like, thank God you say you're not blaming anyone. The people who want to first of all blame, the people on the front line, they're also they're victim of the same circumstance. So there's only so much you can. I don't want to give them too much credit. They're also dealing with the same issues, you know. A pastor of a 25 members church and he's been doing that for the past 10 years. He doesn't get it, that the whole idea is power, that he's just one of many corner churches like that, you know. And he would argue with you and he will use certain things to prove nothing, you know. And it was like, but how do you explain the fact that we're breathing? Like, dude, that's not a good, like, you gotta come up with better cases than that. Come on, man.
Oh, it's real out there.
Thank you, bros. Let me send the. All right, thank you guys, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us. That's it. We're rounding up for the day. Thank you. See you on the next one.